In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists.
In the heart of a nation, innovation meets secrecy, where there exists an entity whose operations are cloaked in shadows and whose advancements tread the line between genius and an ethical abyss. Enter the shadowy world of DARPA, a place where the future is not only imagined, but engineered, where the boundaries of science, war, and ethics are blurred into a tapestry of cutting-edge wonder and chilling dystopia. Here, every breakthrough whispers of potential, but also a cause for alarm, where each project is a step towards a world where tomorrow's headlines are today's classified secrets. From the internet, GPS, stealth technologies, bioengineered weapons and unmanned vehicles, to quantum computing and artificial intelligence. DARPA's resume is extensive, and these projects have shaped humanity, for better or for worse. From the depths of the ocean to the far reaches of space, DARPA's reach is deep and its intentions often inscrutable. Its aim, to control. Let's take a look of what's known about the secretive world of DARPA, where every discovery could be the dawn of a new era, or the prelude to destruction and tyranny. DARPA stands for the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. It's the research and development arm of the United States Department of Defense and is responsible for the development of emerging technologies for use by the military. Originally known as the Advanced Research Projects Agency, or ARPA, the agency was created on February 7, 1958, by then President Dwight D. Eisenhower, in response to the Soviet Union's secret space program and the surprise launching of the Sputnik 1 satellite in 1957. In the 1950s, the United States was in the midst of a Cold War with the Soviet Union. This period was marked by intense competition in technology, particularly in space and missile technologies. The surprise launch of Sputnik 1 by the Soviet Union on October 4, 1957 was a significant shock to the USA. It demonstrated that the Soviets had not only the technology to put an object into orbit, but also the capability to potentially launch intercontinental ballistic missiles at the US. Alarmed by Sputnik and Russia dominating the space race, President Dwight D. Eisenhower and his advisors recognized the need for a new entity within the Department of Defense that could prevent such technological surprises in the future. On February 7, 1958, President Eisenhower approved the creation of the Advanced Research Projects Agency, or ARPA as it was originally known, through a directive from the Department of Defense. ARPA's initial aim was to develop new technologies for use by the military. It was intended to be an agency that could rapidly respond to technological challenges and opportunities, fostering the development of new systems and new techniques that would ensure U.S. military superiority. Roy W. Johnson, a former vice president of the General Electric Company, was appointed as ARPA's first director. His mandate was to bring innovation to defense technologies, particularly focusing on space and the military. Before NASA's formation, ARPA was heavily involved in space technology, leading efforts to launch the first U.S. satellite, Explorer 1, on January 31, 1958, just a few months after its formation. This helped restore some national pride, but it also set a precedent for ARPA's role in technological development. ARPA was given the mandate for space exploration under Project Orbiter. However, After the launch of Sputnik 1 by the Soviet Union, the Eisenhower administration decided to establish a new agency, NASA, using ARPA's technology as a foundation. In the 1960s, DARPA, still known as ARPA, was at the forefront of technological innovation. ARPA's most famous initiatives began in the late 1960s. The concept of ARPANET was proposed by J.C.R. Licklider in his white paper drafted in 1962, describing an intergalactic computer network. The first successful message transmission over ARPANET occurred on October 29, 1969, between the University of California in Los Angeles and Stanford Research Institute. ARPA wasn't just creating computer networks in the 1960s. They were also using Southeast Asia as their testbed for electronic surveillance, herbicidal warfare, sociological and psychological research. Project Agile was an initiative created in the late 1960s aimed at developing and testing military technology for use in counterinsurgency and remote warfare, particularly in Southeast Asia during the Vietnam War. Part of the project focused on electronic means of detecting and tracking enemy movements, which included innovations in sensors to monitor the dense jungles of Vietnam. A significant aspect was the development and use of defoliants, such as Agent Orange, used to clear jungle vegetation, thereby exposing enemy hideouts and supply routes. By the way, Agent Orange was initially tested in Thailand. The use of herbicides, particularly Agent Orange, has been highly controversial due to its long-term environmental damage and the health issues faced by both local populations and American veterans exposed to these chemicals. In essence, ARPA used innocent people and military personnel as test subjects for their research. ARPA, through Project Agile, also explored sociological methods to understand and counteract Viet Cong influence, including studying troop morale and potential subversion through propaganda. Initiated in the late 1970s and continuing into the 1980s, the VLSI project, or Very Large-Scale Integration, aimed to advance semiconductor technologies, which had significant implications for both computing power and miniaturization, paving the way for what would become personal computing. By the 1980s, ARPANET, if you remember, the precursor to the Internet, had transitioned into a broader network known as the Internet. ARPA's work in this era included fostering the development of TCP/IP protocols, which became the standard for Internet communications. The agency's role in expanding the use of the Internet from academic and military use to a broader civilian application is substantial. Some say the Internet was always intended as a tool for mass surveillance and control by military entities, suggesting that the military, through DARPA, has secret backdoor accesses to every aspect of the Internet's functionality. Some even believe that DARPA can shut down the Internet and manipulate data across the globe at will. Here's a short list of programs developed by DARPA aimed at Internet surveillance. Plan X. Plan X was aimed at developing cyber warfare tools which inherently involved understanding and potentially monitoring network traffic, which includes Internet usage. SOSO, or Social Media and Strategic Communication. This program researches how social media platforms are used for strategic communication and analyze how information is spread online. LifeLog. LifeLog was a DARPA project aimed to catalog an individual's daily life in detail, which ended on the same day that Facebook was launched, leading some to speculate regarding their connections. The list is long, and some of these programs continue to this day. These programs reflect a broader spectrum of the development and surveillance capabilities, ranging from metadata collection to content interception, and from the direct partnerships with technology companies such as Google. While much of this information comes from leaks and public domain sources, it underscores the extensive nature of the government's activities and involvement with DARPA and the internet. DARPA's research into neuroscience and brain-computer interfaces isn't solely for enhancing human capabilities or medical advancements. It's part of a larger, secretive agenda and PSYOP. The agenda lifts the script right out of a sci-fi movie. Its plan: to control and manipulate thoughts, emotions, and behaviors of individuals and populations. But DARPA's foray into neuroscience is nothing new. This branch of the U.S. Department of Defense has historically pushed the boundaries of what's technologically possible. From the internet's predecessor, ARPANET, to stealth technology, their interest in the brain began with a focus on enhancing human capabilities for military purposes. Neural interface research, like the Next Generation Non-Surgical Neurotechnology Project, or N3 program, aims to develop high-resolution bidirectional brain-computing interfaces. Imagine a world where soldiers control swarms of drones and cyber defenses with just their thoughts alone. With partnerships across the globe, the N3 program could be part of a larger international effort to establish a network of control, linking human minds into a global grid. The integration of such technology into everyday life might just be the tip of the iceberg. What if every citizen could be monitored for their mental state, potentially preempting protests or revolutionary thoughts under the guise of national security? Are we moving towards a hive mind scenario where individual thought is obsolete and collective thought influenced by a corporation or government becomes mandatory? DARPA is also involved in the research of accelerated learning, or the targeted neuroplasticity training. The TNT program showcases DARPA's ambition to fast-track cognitive skill acquisition. By using electrical stimulation, this program seeks to reduce the time required to acquire new skills. Remember The Matrix? Think of Neo when he learned Kung Fu. The real aim is not to just improve military training, but to develop a method for controlling and manipulating individuals' minds, potentially for use in psychological warfare or to create obedient soldiers. Speculation persists that the real-world applications of TNT are being tested right now in scenarios not disclosed to the public, such as influencing political outcomes, controlling dissidents, or even creating a form of cognitive hacking. DARPA's research isn't limited to just concepts. They're pushing us towards a futuristic dystopia. Magnoelectric nanoparticles, or MENPs, a research program developed where tiny particles enter the bloodstream and could permeate the brain to read neurosignals. This could lead to non-invasive brain-computer interfaces, turning sci-fi into reality. Ethical and societal implications are raised while journeying into the human mind, and while these things are exciting, they may be opening a Pandora's box. Enhancing human cognitive abilities, or control over technology, could redefine what it means to be human. Where do we draw the line between enhancement and the sovereignty of our autonomy? The potential for reading and influencing our thoughts raises alarms. We know from reading the history books that these technologies will and most likely already are being used beyond their intended military applications. DARPA has been involved in the development of artificial intelligence, or AI, since the early 1960s. This commitment to AI research was highlighted by initiatives like funding the Project for Machine-Aided Cognition, or MAC, at MIT, and similar efforts at Stanford, which explored a broad spectrum of AI topics, including mathematical theorem proving, natural language understanding, robotics, and chess. This early work laid the foundation stones for AI research, which has continued and evolved significantly over the decades. DARPA has been involved in developing AI since the early 1960s. This commitment to AI research was highlighted by initiatives like the funding of the Project of Machine-Aided Cognition, or MAC, at IT at Stanford, that can interpret and mimic human thought patterns. This isn't about just understanding human decision-making. It's about replicating it, potentially creating AI entities that can think, decide, and perhaps even react emotionally like humans. The Mind's Eye, a program focused on developing AI for video analysis, aiming to enable machines to understand and interpret visual scenes in a way humans do. Critics might argue that this technology can be used for mass surveillance, privacy invasion, and psychological operations. At present, there are leaks of projects where AI is being integrated with human neural networks. And this isn't merely about enhancing human capabilities. It's about creating a symbiotic relationship where AI will control human actions. Beyond drones and automated defense systems, DARPA's vision includes AI that can autonomously conduct warfare. This isn't restricted to physical battles. It also includes cyber warfare, psychological operations, and even influencing public opinion through social media. Project Carcosa is a program where AI will be used in psychological and unconventional warfare, involving disinformation campaigns and cyber operations. It will be used to manipulate public perception and behavior. All you have to do is read the news or go on social media to see the chaos that's being wrought as you listen to this video. Through AI, DARPA aims to manipulate enemy perception, creating a form of psychological warfare, where it can craft scenarios that lead to desired outcomes without a single shot being fired. This manipulation extends to domestic arenas, where the goal might be to ensure compliance or quell dissidents under the guise of national security. While the development of such AI is shrouded in secrecy, information leaks to the public sphere like drops of oil on water, suggesting a deeper connection to defense contractors, tech giants, and even academic institutions, all bound by non-disclosure agreements that keep the public in the dark. Companies like those involved in Silicon Valley are rumored to be more than just collaborators. They are the co-architects of this new age of AI, with their technology and data harvesting feeding DARPA's secret projects. Universities under the banner of research also are cohorting in the advancement of this agenda. The funding from DARPA always comes with conditions that limit transparency, turning academic pursuits into a tool for secret government programs. Every click, every like, every digital interaction we make might be feeding into this AI's learning algorithm. The digital footprint we leave behind is not just for advertisers, but potentially for a government agency experimenting with the very essence of free will and human interaction. Social media platforms aren't just for sharing ideas and pictures of your family. They are the testing ground for AI algorithms designed to predict, influence, and control public opinion. By analyzing vast amounts of data, DARPA's AI predicts behaviors, preemptively shaping environments or events to guide outcomes in favor of national security objectives. And as these AI systems grow more sophisticated, there's a growing fear, whispered in the corridors of power and among those who watch from the sidelines, that we are building and creating our own digital overlords. The line between protection and control will become so blurred that by the time we notice, autonomy will already be a relic of the past. Many draw parallels with government projects like MKUltra, which aim was mind control, suggesting that DARPA might be continuing this legacy in a digital format through social media platforms. DARPA's history of funding projects that delve into the psychological aspects of human behavior is extensive. MKUltra, a CIA project, explored various methods to manipulate mental states and alter brain functionalities, often without the subject's consent. The leap from physical experiments to digital manipulation seems to some a logical progression in the quest for control over human cognition and behavior. Unlike traditional media, people often consume memes without questioning their origin or intent, potentially bypassing critical analysis. Memes have evolved from simple image macros to complex multi-layered content that can spread across the internet at breakneck speed. They're not just for laughs, they're potent tools for spreading ideas, opinions, and even propaganda. The simplicity and virality of memes make them perfect vehicles for messages that might otherwise face resistance or skepticism. Manipulating memes can lead to a controlled narrative environment, which could infringe on freedoms of expression and information. Memes can be seen as a new frontier for psychological operations, where the aim is to influence opinions, behaviors, and actions. DARPA's research into human-machine interfaces, AI, and predictive analytics could potentially be used to create memes designed to resonate with specific demographics or trigger desired psychological responses. DARPA has explored projects like the Narrative Networks program, which aimed at understanding how stories and narratives influence behavior. While officially these projects target understanding and countering misinformation, these technologies developed could theoretically be used to craft narratives through memes. If DARPA were to influence search engines or social media algorithms through its connections and research, it could control what memes trend, thus manipulating public discourse on various topics. The secretive nature of defense research could mean the public is unaware of the extent to which their digital experiences are being engineered. Unveiling the DARPA web, the complex ties between DARPA and tech giants over the decades, DARPA has not only influenced military tech, but has also had a profound impact on civilian technologies, particularly through its connections with major tech companies and search engines. It's widely noted that the founders of Google, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, benefited from DARPA funding while at Stanford University. Their research, partially funded by DARPA, focused on analyzing the link structure of the web to find better ways to search for information. This research directly contributed to the creation of Google's search engine, which revolutionized how we see and access information today. Beyond Google, DARPA's influence isn't limited to search engines. The agency's DARPA Connect initiative aimed at fostering a collaboration with non-traditional performers like small businesses and educational institutions. This initiative reflects DARPA's broader strategy of leveraging external innovation to meet defense needs, which inadvertently also fuels civilian tech advancements. The development of Apple's Siri, which became part of Apple's suite of products, has roots in DARPA-funded research. Siri's natural language processing capabilities were initially developed under DARPA's CALO, or Cognitive Assistance That Learns and Organizes project, aiming at creating AI that could assist in information management for military personnel. While not directly a tech company product, GPS technology was integral to many consumer tech products. It was another one of DARPA's innovations. The agency's work in the 1970s on satellite technology for navigation purposes also evolved into the global GPS system we rely on today. The relationship between DARPA and tech companies also includes more controversial aspects. The MEMX project aimed at developing new search engine technologies to navigate the deep web or dark web, which are areas of the internet not typically indexed by conventional search engines. The goal was to aid law enforcement in tracking illegal activities, but it sparked discussion over privacy and surveillance concerns. Total information awareness. Although this project is officially defunded, it was created to explore technologies and concepts like data mining for predictive purposes, having parallels in how data is handled by tech giants today. The idea of collecting vast amounts of data to predict behaviors has found its way into algorithms that drive everything from ad placement to content recommendations on social media and on search platforms. The breaches of ethics, trust, and privacy due to DARPA's technologies and their cohorting with tech giants are concerning, to say the least. And while DARPA's innovations have led the way to significant technological advancements, they've also been associated with major surveillance capabilities. The balance between national security, innovation, and individual privacy rights remains a contentious issue. There's a debate over whether the public should benefit more directly from DARPA-funded technologies, or if these should remain primarily with the defense sector, or commercialized by private entities. In conclusion, these connections between DARPA and major tech companies, including search engines, illustrate a complex web where military research meets consumer technology. The relationship has undeniably driven innovation, but it also poses the question about privacy and militarization of technology, and the ethical implications of government involvement in tech development. As we move forward, transparency in these partnerships alongside rigorous ethical scrutiny will be crucial in ensuring that technological advancements serve the broader public interests, not just national defense budgets and corporate profit. This narrative not only highlights a history of technological evolution, but also a reminder of the ongoing dialogue between technology, governance, and a society where the lines between the public good and strategic interests are often as blurred as they are critical to define. Maybe you knew these things, and maybe you didn't. Maybe you'll dismiss these warnings as reading too much into it. But there's no denying that the government involvement in these matters is deep and extensive. They never did stop tapping in to listen to who you associate with and what you're talking about with those associations. Now, they want to know what you eat, what makes you sad, what makes you laugh, what makes you think the things that you think about. They want to know what makes you, you. But why? As we fall deeper and deeper into this Orwellian nightmare, ask yourself this: have the invisible agents of control ever made the world a better place? With all of these technological advancements, your life might be more convenient, but is it better? Are you happier? I just want to say, this was my first video, and it was really hard to make. But I had so much fun making it, and I want to make some more. So subscribe, like, share, hit the bell, do all the things. But most importantly, whip lightly, drive slow, vaya con Dios.